Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Lulu's unbreakable bond with Cyrus after she awakens, all thanks to regular hospital visits. General Hospital, GH, spoilers note that Lulu Spencer, Alexa Havens, is on the cusp of waking up, and this could change the face of Port Charles and storylines moving forward. The mom has been in a coma since late 2020, and as fans await her much-anticipated liver transplant, there's a good chance she'll awaken shortly after the procedure. GE viewers also anticipate a new attitude for Lulu when she returns, especially in light of the show's decision to recast the character. With that being said, will Lulu also feel a new bond with an old family member? GH spoilers remind fans that while Cyrus Renault, Jeff Kober, is the reason Lulu is her current state, he truly wants to do all he can to make it up to her. In the 4 years that Lulu has been asleep, Cyrus has turned to God, but whether or not the criminal has truly changed and become a better person remains to be seen. One thing for sure is he's adamant about making amends to Lulu and truly build a relationship with his sister Laura Collins, Jenny Francis. As such, he's been visiting Lulu and talking to her at her bedside weekly. Have these regular visits helped to establish a bond between them? How Lulu will be and how she'll respond to others is a wild card at this point. She's been in a coma for 4 years, so she may not remember any of the events leading to her accident. She may also suffer from amnesia. Then again, Lulu may resent her mom, brother Lucky Spencer, Jonathan Jackson, and Dante Falconieri, Dominic Zamprogna, for whatever reason. It's hard to say at this point. However, Elizabeth Baldwin, Rebecca Herbst, recently mentioned something interesting to Willow Corinthos, Caitlin McMullen, while the nurse was tending to Lulu and talking to her in the process. Elizabeth commended Willow for chatting it up with her patient despite her condition, as Lulu likely can hear everything that is being said to her. What if Lulu awakens with no memory of loved ones and family, but for whatever reason recalls Cyrus's weekly chat? This may be because his visits were each week at the same time, or the writers could come up with some medical reasoning for it. Could Lulu find herself growing a newfound affection for her uncle, considering his visits? How would Laura and Lucky react to this? Port Charles has always been a city filled with secrets, unexpected alliances, and relationships that are hard to believe. But no one could have predicted the bond that would form between Lulu Spencer and Cyrus Renault after her miraculous awakening. After spending years in a coma, the once fierce and vibrant Lulu now finds herself drawn to the last person anyone expected, Cyrus Renault, the man who caused so much destruction in her family's life. It's a twist that could send shockwaves through the town, and no one is ready for the fallout that's about to unfold. Lulu's awakening. A miracle years in the making. The Spencer family had almost given up hope. For years, Lulu had been in a coma after a traumatic head injury that left her on the edge of life. Every day, her mother, Laura Collins, visited her daughter, talking to her and hoping for a miracle. Her children, Rocco and Charlotte, visited less frequently, unsure how to feel about their mother's long silence. But then, one ordinary day, something extraordinary happened. Lulu opened her eyes. Her return to consciousness sent shockwaves through the hospital. Tears of joy streamed down Laura's face, and Dante, Lulu's ex-husband, could barely contain his emotions as he rushed to her bedside. Even Lulu's brother, Nicholas, made an unexpected visit despite his own dramatic life. The entire town was elated, but something was different about Lulu. The once fierce and independent Lulu had a quietness to her, an unspoken complexity that no one could quite put their finger on. As Lulu began the slow process of rehabilitation, everyone noticed that she was more introspective than before. She had been through something that no one else could understand. Years lost in the haze of unconsciousness, time that had passed without her. And while her family and friends were eager to catch her up on all the events she'd missed, Lulu's mind seemed to be somewhere else. Cyrus Renault, the unlikely visitor. As Lulu began her physical therapy, she received an unexpected visitor, Cyrus Renault. The name alone sent shivers down the spines of everyone in the hospital, especially Laura. Cyrus had tormented the town for years with his dangerous connections and criminal empire. He had caused Laura unimaginable pain, and his involvement in Lulu's life had always been a dark cloud hanging over the Spencer family. At first, everyone assumed that Cyrus's appearance at Lulu's bedside was just another manipulation tactic. After all, he had used kindness as a weapon before, pretending to care about the people of Port Charles while secretly pulling strings behind the scenes. But this time, something was different. Cyrus wasn't his usual calculating self. There was a softness in his demeanor that even Laura couldn't quite explain. Cyrus visited regularly, often when no one else was around. At first, Laura tried to block him, but Lulu insisted that she didn't mind his visits. To the shock of everyone around her, Lulu seemed to develop a strange connection to Cyrus, one that left her family both confused and concerned. Lulu and Cyrus, an unlikely bond. As the weeks passed, Lulu's physical progress was impressive, but it was her emotional transformation that shocked everyone. Lulu had always been a strong, determined woman, but her connection to Cyrus Renault was something no one could make sense of. Every time Cyrus visited, Lulu's face would light up, and they would talk for hours about things no one else understood. It wasn't long before rumors started flying through the hospital. "He's manipulating her," Dante had said angrily, pacing the floor outside Lulu's room. "He's playing some sick game, and Lulu's falling for it." Laura, too, was deeply concerned. She had always been protective of Lulu, but she couldn't seem to break this new bond that her daughter had formed. Every time she tried to warn Lulu about Cyrus's past and the pain he'd caused, Lulu brushed her off with a calmness that only deepened the mystery. "You don't understand, Mom," Lulu had said one day, her voice soft but firm. "There's more to Cyrus than you think." Laura couldn't believe what she was hearing. How could her daughter defend a man who had caused so much destruction? But Lulu was adamant. She didn't see Cyrus the way everyone else did. She saw a man who had been broken by his own choices, a man who had lost everything and was searching for redemption. Cyrus's redemption, genuine or manipulation? Cyrus Renault had spent most of his life as a villain. His name was synonymous with fear, drugs, and violence in Port Charles. But in the years since Lulu had fallen into her coma, something had shifted in him. His time behind bars had made him reflect on his choices, and he began visiting the hospital not just to see Lulu, but to seek forgiveness for his past sins. Cyrus had always been good at reading people, and with Lulu, he saw someone who understood suffering on a profound level. She had lost years of her life, had been taken away from her children, her family, and her dreams. In a strange way, Cyrus saw a reflection of his own losses in her. But was his remorse genuine, or was it another layer of manipulation? The town of Port Charles remained divided on whether Cyrus had truly changed. Some believed that he was using Lulu as a pawn in a new scheme, while others saw his regular hospital visits as a sign of true regret. But for Lulu, it didn't matter what the town thought. In her eyes, Cyrus was someone who had been abandoned by the world, much like she had been during her coma. The fallout, a town divided. As word spread of Lulu and Cyrus's growing connection, the town braced itself for the inevitable fallout. Dante was furious, convinced that Lulu was being brainwashed by the man who had ruined their lives. Laura, torn between her love for her daughter and her hatred for Cyrus, found herself in an impossible position. But Lulu remained resolute. She had spent years in a world where nothing made sense, and now, as she rebuilt her life, she found clarity in the most unexpected places. Whether the bond between her and Cyrus was genuine or dangerous, only time would tell. For now, Lulu's unbreakable connection to Cyrus Renault had the entire town on edge, and Port Charles was left wondering what would happen next. Would this unlikely friendship lead to redemption or disaster? Only one thing was certain: nothing in Port Charles would ever be the same.